SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Dear students, you are welcome in this class. I am Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist, Division of Agronomy, ICAR, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Pusa Campus, New Delhi. This lecture belongs to the course Agronomy of Oilseed, Fiber and Sugar Crops. The title of this lecture is Origin, History, Area, Production, Classification, Morphology and Improved Varieties of Jute Crop. The learning objectives are to get acquainted with origin, history, area and production of jute in India and the world. We will see where this crop has originated, how it is spread from one part to another part, how much is the area in the world, area in India and also in different states of India, and data on production also, as well as on productivity of jute crop you will check in this lecture. To detail the classification, here you will see taxonomy of jute crop and morphology. Morphology means external appearance of a plant, how jute plant looks, what kind of roots are there, how is the stem, what kind of flowers are there, what are pods, seeds and so on. And then improved varieties of the jute crop, how the varietal development is started and what are the important varieties of the jute crop. Overall, this is the package of this lecture. And then before we start, let us check some difficult words in form of glossary. Cash crop. So basically jute is a cash crop, therefore term cash crop. Crops grown for selling to market profit, to make profit in the market. Example, jute, coffee, sugarcane and cotton etc. are cash crops. Adaptability with respect to crops. Ability of a crop to respond positively to changes in agricultural conditions. Anthesis, period during which a flower is fully open and functional, also onset of that period is anthesis. Flowering, act or state of producing flowers, period during which a plant produces flower. Means the flowering word has got two meaning. One is act or state of producing flower, this is flowering, and second is period during which a plant produces flowers, that is also flowering. Now fruit, let us see meaning of fruit in botany, a seed bearing structure in flowering plants that is formed from ovary after flowering. So in flowering plants, fruits develop mainly from ovary. Glabrous with respect to leaf, glabrous may be with respect to a stem or any other plant of the part. Glabrous means smooth, especially not hairy or pubescent. It is also called as pubescent, means opposite of pubescent. Pubescent means it has got some hairs. Lacking hairs, scales on leaf. Inflorescence, a group or cluster of flowers arranged on a stem that is composed of a main branch or a system of branches. Locule, a chamber within an ovary which is gynoecium or carpel of the flower and fruits. Morphology, study of form and structure of organisms, outward appearance, outside appearance, maybe shape, maybe color, etc. Periderm, outer layer of a bark of a tree composed of phellogen, phellum and phelloderm. Means periderm has got three parts, phellogen, phellum and phelloderm. Shrub, a small to medium sized perennial woody plant having persistent woody stem. That is your shrub. So jute is also a kind of shrub. Soil salinity, salt content in soil, the status of salt content in soil. Process of increasing salt content in is salinization. taxonomy. Taxonomy means naming, describing and classification of all living organisms including plants. That is your taxonomy, or simply you call it classification of plants. Waterlogging. Waterlogging is excess water in the root zone accompanied by anaerobic conditions. Wild species. Population of any species that have not been domesticated through selection for particular traits and survive independently. That is wild species. Now you can check how a jute plant looks. So you can see here jute plant on the left side. You are seeing the woody stem also. So these stems, actually on the outer side of these stems you will find fiber. So jute fiber is extracted from these stems. On the right side you can see the tender parts of the jute plant for identity, how it looks. So you can see the leaves of the jute plant on the right picture. Now let us check the importance, how much important a jute crop is. So jute, it has got two names, two scientific names, or two species, Corchorus capsularis and Corchorus oletorius. Is one of the important cash crops of India, contributing significantly to our national economy. Considering its economic importance, jute has been popularly known as golden fiber. Similarly, as you know, cotton is also called as white gold, but jute is called as golden fiber. It provides livelihood support to about 4 million farm families, means 40 lakh, 1 million is equal to 10 lakh. So over 40 lakh people or families get support, livelihood support, and 0.25 million industrial workers and 0.5 million traders in India. So you see, it has very good employment opportunities for the people. India is also largest consumer of jute and its products. About 85% of jute produced is used to meet domestic demand. Most of jute produced in India is consumed here itself. Used for making sacks, bora. Sacks, about more than 80% or roughly 80% is used for making sacks under the Jute Packaging Materials Compulsory Use in Packing Commodities Act 1987. In recent years, finer fibers with higher strength are in high demand for producing diversified value-added products. So variety of mixture of fibers, combinations are being made and sold in the market. So it can be one of the component. Certain synthetic fibers can also be mixed with jute fiber to produce some variety of materials. Now you can see closely that this is industry, one industry or factory where some jute bags are being manufactured. So you can see the material for making jute bags. So this is how it looks. And then you can see some other materials or other products of jute. So you can see this is jute fiber on the left side, and then you can see jute rope. It can vary in sizes also. You can make the thicker rope, you can make the thinner ropes also. And number of uses, large number of uses are there. You can make ropes, and goods are also there for making purses, using a variety of uses you can see on the right side. Jute diversified products are perhaps the area of future growth in jute industry. Annually, about 12 to 15% of jute goods are exported to UK, Japan, Middle East, Far East, Europe, Africa, USA, Argentina, whatnot, CIS countries, Romania, Australia, New Zealand. So overall, up to 15% products are exported to other countries. So earning foreign exchange also. It has high ecosystem value also, as fiber has many environmental benefit over the synthetic fiber, because jute fiber is actually natural fiber. And you know, plastic fiber or synthetic fibers, they are really not good for our environment. It is an annually renewable source of high biomass production. The first advantage of jute crop is that it produces high biomass, which is 55 to 60 tons of green biomass per hectare in 110 to 120 days. If it is producing so much of biomass, that means its part of this biomass will also go to the soil. So it enhances carbon accumulation in soil. Seed oil has high value, nutritive value and wide industrial uses also. Jute-based blended textiles are potential areas for product diversification and value addition in jute crop. When grown in rotation with another crop, jute is a natural fiber that does not necessarily harm the environment. It also contributes to soil replenishment and promotes soil fertility, mainly because of high biomass production. Significant quantities of dry matter is there in the roots, and there may be certain leaf fall also onto the soil, and it is really conserving, harvesting atmospheric carbon dioxide into its leaves, and then some root exudates are also there which can add carbon to the soil. So jute leaves also act as insecticide, and their roots boost fertility. Jute's woody stalk is used to make composite materials and as a fuel also, which helps stop deforestation. So it is alternative to wood. So what happens if you have stripped off the fiber, means fiber has been extracted and the woods are left. So those woods can be used as a fuel in rural areas. However, if fertilizers or pesticides are employed, these chemicals have a possibility to get into water supplies and subsequently biosphere. So there may be certain negative effects also, particularly when farmers are using excessive quantity of fertilizer which is not desirable. Then it can pollute the environment also. Jute also contributes to maintenance of ozone layer by releasing oxygen into the environment while absorbing CO2. Because biomass is huge, that means it has absorbed large quantities of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and this large biomass will also release more oxygen. Means, so overall you see it is balancing. So balance is in favor of oxygen. Jute is also used to make geotextiles, biogas and biodegradable goods with minimal environmental impact. Jute fiber is entirely recyclable and biodegradable also, making it eco-friendly. Approximately 15 ton carbon dioxide consumed and 11 ton of oxygen released per hectare by jute plants. So this is good. Jute cultivation in crop rotations improves soil's fertility for succeeding crop or next crop. When burned, jute does not release any harmful fumes. Of course, burning is not recommended. Now let us check the chemical composition of jute fiber. What fiber is made up of? So you see major component is alpha cellulose. So cellulose is the major component of jute fiber. Alpha amylose 59, alpha cellulose 59 to 61% and hemicellulose 22 to 24%, lignin 12 to 14%, fats and waxes 1 to 1.4%, nitrogenous matter 1.6 to 1.9%, ash content means it may have some minerals 0.5 to 0.8% and pectin 0.2 to 0.5%. So you can see the major components are three, alpha cellulose, hemicellulose and of course lignin. Now let us check the history and origin of jute crop. So highest number of species of genus Corchorus had been observed in Africa, followed by Asia and Australia. So you can see largest diversity is in Africa. Both cultivated species and large number of wild species had been found across diverse agroecological conditions in India also. So India is considered to be one of the centers of diversity of the genus Corchorus. So far origin of Tosa jute is concerned. So students can remember Tosa jute is your Corchorus oletorius L and another jute is white jute, which is Corchorus capsularis L. So origin of Tosa jute is considered in equatorial region of East Africa, and thereafter it had been domesticated in India. And white jute, Corchorus capsularis L, is believed to have originated and domesticated in South China and Indo-Burma regions. So this is how these crops have originated, partly in Africa and partly in Asia. In Asia, China and India and Burma region may be probable origin centers. Now you can see where it is cultivated. So of course it may have originated from Africa, but its cultivation is mainly confined to Asian countries. And in Asia also it is not everywhere. So you can see it is largely cultivated in India. You can see India cultivates, Pakistan cultivates, China, Thailand, Nepal and Bhutan, etc. So these are the Asian countries where jute crop is cultivated. Now let us check world area of jute. So you can see in year 2020, India was having highest area, which was 0.691 million hectare, and number 2 was Bangladesh, which had 0.679 million hectare, and China and Nepal had very smaller area under jute crop. And you can see the overall in Asia, the total area was 1.39 million hectare in year 2020, and all the world area is also 1.39. So it is suggesting that whatever jute cultivation is done, it is done in Asia. Then you see the trend of area in million hectare in 21 and 22. This time in both these years, Bangladesh has taken over India in area. So you can see Bangladesh have the highest area in 21 and 22, followed by India and then Nepal and China. Nepal and China have very smaller or insignificant area here also. But you can see compared to China, Nepal had more area in 21 and 22. Let us check the world production of jute. So it is million tons of fiber. So see, check for the year 2020. In 2020, India produced much higher quantity of fiber, jute fiber than Bangladesh. India was number 1 in the world, followed by Bangladesh and then China and then Nepal. In year 21, you can check here the trend reverse. Bangladesh produced more jute fiber than India. Bangladesh produced 1.68 million tons and India produced 1.61 million tons of jute fiber. But see, interesting fact is here that China produced more jute fiber than Nepal, though China had less area than the Nepal. Now see the year 2022. In year 2022, this India has taken over again this Bangladesh, and India had highest production, followed by Bangladesh, and number 3 is China and number 4 is Nepal. So you can see here the production of India in 2022 was 1.76 million tons, for Bangladesh 1.53 million tons fiber, and for China 0.014 and for Nepal 0.010. Now see the average productivity of the world, average production of the world. It is 2.69 million tons fiber in the world in 2020. In 21 it was 3.5 million tons fiber production in the world, and now in 2020 it was 3.5 million tons of fiber production in the world. Now world productivity of jute, this productivity is also tons of fiber per hectare. The unit is tons of fiber per hectare. So see the case of year 2020. See, China had the highest productivity, 3.87 tons fiber per hectare, followed by India 2.62, and Bangladesh has very low productivity, which is 1.18. Even in 2020, Nepal had higher productivity than Bangladesh. Coming to year 21 and 22, you can see the productivity highest in China. So China is leading in productivity in all the year. whether it is 21 or 22, in all the year the productivity is highest in China, which is currently in 2022, which was 4 tons per hectare. 4 tons per hectare. It is double the productivity of Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, it was 2.12, and in India, 2.79 tons per hectare. It is better than Bangladesh, but much lower than China. And Nepal also had 1.4 tons productivity. So you can check overall that China, India, Bangladesh and Nepal is the sequence of productivity. Now let us see the trends of jute area in India. What is happening in our country in different years? So this area is in 1000 hectare, means whatever values are given in these columns and rows, they can be multiplied by 1000 to get hectares. For example, 64.2 thousand hectares. So this is how this area is there. So you can see in different year 19, 20, 2020, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23. So first you see that West Bengal, all the years, during all the years, this West Bengal is having the highest area in India, which is about 505. If you take the average, it is about 505,000 hectares of land in West Bengal. And number 2 state, if you see generally, is Assam. Assam is having, though the much lower area than West Bengal, but it has some area under jute crop. So you can see here, it is somewhere around 61 to 62,000 hectares area in Assam. The third important state in India is Bihar. In Bihar, you have 48.4, 42.5. So on an average, you can say around 45 to 50,000 hectare area of jute is in Bihar. So you can conclude here that West Bengal has highest area, followed by Assam and then Bihar. Other important state is Odisha, Meghalaya, where this jute is also cultivated. Now coming to production, the production of jute is expressed in bales, and one bale is equal to 180 kilogram for jute. And the data here in different cells is given for 1000 bales. So whatever bales are there, you multiply it by 1000. So you can see again, as the area was very high in West Bengal, so is the production. So you can see in West Bengal, you got 7,901,000 bales production of jute in 2019-20, and then again 7,452, 8,183, 7,575,000 bales. And if you check the next important state is looking to be Assam, 792,000, 774, 743, and in 22-23 it is 689,000 bales production. And of course, the third state is your Bihar, 647, 618, 713 and 630. So overall, you can conclude that the highest production is in West Bengal, which is far higher than Assam and Bihar, and next in order is Assam, followed by Bihar. Coming to all India production of bales, so in year 2019-20 it was 9,446, which has decreased in 2021 to 8,953, and finally the latest you can see it is somewhere around 9,000 bales production in India, 9,000 into 1,000. Now coming to trends in jute yield in India, what are the states? So you can see from this data, the conclusion is that from 19 to 20, means 2019-20 year, West Bengal had the highest productivity, followed by Bihar, Assam and Odisha. Then in 2021, again West Bengal had the highest productivity. Now the Bihar was replaced by Odisha, and then Bihar and Assam. In 2021 and 2022, finally, the latest years, so West Bengal is having highest productivity, followed by Bihar and then Odisha and then Assam. So you can see the productivity of West Bengal is highest, which is currently 2,707 kg per hectare of the jute fiber. Now let us see the taxonomy or classification of this crop. Genus Corchorus belongs to the order Malvaceae. Student can remember the order of this crop. It is Malvaceae and family Malvaceae. Same family is for cotton also. In Corchorus, approximately 210 species are available globally, out of which only 10 species had been reported in India. Apart from 2 cultivated species, what are those cultivated species? Corchorus capsularis and Corchorus oletorius, white jute and Tosa jute. And there are 8 wild species in India. So, what are the 8 wild species in India? Corchorus aestuans, Corchorus depressus, Corchorus fascicularis, Corchorus pseudo oletorius, Corchorus tridens, Corchorus trilocularis, Corchorus articifolius, Corchorus velutinus had been identified in India. So, overall these are the 10 species which are available in India, and out of these 10 only 2 are cultivated for commercial purposes. Among jute species available in India, C. aestuans is most dominant, one followed by C. oletorius, C. capsularis, C. tridens, C. trilocularis and C. fascicularis respectively, as suggested by Mahapatra and co-workers 1998. Now see the classification, botanical classification. Jute belongs to kingdom Plantae, subkingdom is Tracheobionta, division is Magnoliophyta, class is Magnoliopsida, subclass is Delanidae, order Malvaceae, family Malvaceae and genus Corchorus. And species you know, already discussed, many species are there. Now let us check the morphology of jute plant, and as you know that jute is an annual herbaceous plant with a taproot system. In taproot system you got one major root which goes very deep, and there are some side or lateral roots, and such kind of roots are called as this taproot system. So both Corchorus capsularis and Corchorus oletorius are diploid, means 2n is equal to 14. Their somatic cells have chromosome number 14 in nature with a uniform and regular meiosis. Meiosis is cell division where the chromosome number is halved, then you will have n is equal to 7. Root in clayey as well as in sandy loam soils, tap roots of Corchorus oletorius grow longer than that of capsularis. Means capsularis roots are shorter and oletorius roots are longer or deeper. Secondary root system different in both the species. In Corchorus oletorius, roots are well developed and more deeply penetrating, while in Corchorus capsularis they are superficial, means they are on the surface region and bushy in nature. So this is a clear-cut distinction between the root system of 2 different species of jute. Now let us check the morphology of stem and branching. So branching is not very common in jute. It is not that much branching crop. So stem is erect, cylindrical, glabrous, you can see on the right side. Glabrous means no hairs, and woody with a strong phloem fiber. Color of stem, leaf and petiole in different varieties are remarkably variable. So it is not that you will have always green color of the stems. Color of stem appears to be green, red, pink or purple. There can be different colors. No relationship has been established between stem and fiber color. Means stem color will not influence the color of the fiber. That is the meaning of this. Available anthocyanin pigments. Anthocyanin pigments are coloring material, are responsible for development of patterns of color in jute plants. Plants are either unbranched or having a limited number of side branches. Mostly they are unbranched. Plants have several auxiliary buds for branching, though few non-branching types are available. Branching is undesirable as it affects the fiber quality. Now you can see the stem. This is the stem, and you can see the purplish green kind of color of the stem on the left side, and it can be yellowish green also on the right side. So some variations or shades of color are available. Let us check morphology of leaves. So jute leaves have serrated margins, and leaf serrated margins are like this. Serrated margins, and leaf base is provided with two free lateral stipules with green or red pigment. There are two linear stipules shorter in length than petioles. Leaves are ovate lanceolate. This is a specific shape of the leaves, 3 to 5 nerved, serrated with tapering end. The two teeth, one on each side near base of lamina, are prolonged into filamental structure called serrature. Petioles measure 2 to 3 centimeters. So petiole actually are the base of the leaves which attaches the leaf to the branch or to the stem. So here you can see this is the petiole part. Stipules linear and shorter than petiole and shiny and light green. So stipules are actually appendages attached to the leaves. Leaves are 10 to 15 centimeter long and about 5 centimeter wide. So you can see the shape of the leaves in this picture. More clearly you can see, so leaves are serrated. So on the right side you can see this is serration. This is serrated leaf. Flower. Inflorescence is extra axillary, generally opposite to the leaf base. Cymose type of inflorescence is there, normally having 3 flowers. These 3 flowers. Flowering stage is marked by forking of stem apex producing 2 or more branches. Number of sepals or petals is generally 5. As a student might be knowing that sepals are individual unit of the calyx and petals are the individual units of corolla. Plant of Corchorus olitorius bears yellow flowers larger than that of found in Corchorus capsularis. So this is important difference to make a difference, that Corchorus olitorius bears yellow flowers larger than found in capsularis. Peduncles are 2 to 3 flowered, shorter than petiole. Sepals sharply pointed. Sepal tips are sometimes differently colored than the rest of the structure. It may be a unique character of the varieties. Petals normally yellow, spatulate and larger than sepal. Stamens are free and indefinite, arising from a short torus. Style is short and stigma cup-shaped with numerous dry type papillae. So student might be knowing different part of the gynoecium. Gynoecium has 3 different parts. One is your ovary and then you have style followed by stigma. Now you can see the structure of the flower. This is, you see petals, these are the sepals. The green structures are sepals and yellow structures are petals or corolla, and inside them you find sex organs which are gynoecium and androecium. Androecium is composed of anthers. See some more picture of the flower, and inside it you will find anthers and all other parts. Here you can see different parts of the gynoecium, ovary, this style and then stigma. This is stigma part. Similarly, you can also look for the anthers. Anthers, these are the anthers, and actually anthers plus filament, they make up stamens. Now see more clear picture of stamens, stamens and your gynoecium here. Now fruits and seeds. Pod is the fruiting unit of this crop. Fruit or capsule, it is also called as capsule or C. capsularis. C. capsularis is spherical in shape. The pod is spherical, means round in shape, while pods in olitorius are cylindrical and elongated. So one difference is in pod shape. So pods in olitorius are tan-ribbed, characterized by prominent ridges and furrows. occasionally 10 to times longer than the breadth. Tip of pods unite to form a short beak-like structure. As you see, beak. Pods of Capsularis are globular in shape. Pods of Olitorius contain black seeds with a greenish tinge, containing 5 to 6 times more seeds than Capsularis. So, student must notice this point, that Olitorius contain black seeds which are much larger or 5 to 6 times more than the Capsularis varieties. In Capsularis, seeds are comparatively larger and their number ranges from 40 to 50, but in Olitorius their number is 250 to 300. Now you can see that white jute Capsularis, they are round, the pods are round, but here you can see they look like a capsule or long pod, their length is much higher than their breadth. So this is a quite distinguishable feature of Tosa jute and white jute. So right side you are seeing Tosa jute, Olitorius, on the left side you are seeing the white jute which is Capsularis. Now see more pictures of the pods here, they are longer. Now you can measure also, you can see have a look on this pod, the length, and you can see the seeds. These are the growing seeds in the pod. You can see more clear picture here, the seeds, these are developing seeds. Now you can see the differences in seed of white jute on the left side and seed of Tosa jute on the right side. Now see characteristics of fiber, which is the economic part of the jute plant. So fiber of Corchorus olitorius is mostly softer, is stronger and more lustrous than that of Capsularis. Fiber of olitorius is usually yellowish red. Fiber of Capsularis is weaker and less lustrous. Not uniform in color for white jute, varies from pale cream to dull grey or brown and occasionally black. Color variation generally depends on quality of water used in retting and amount of iron in retting water, its reaction with tannin in stem. So management and retting process they can also affect the color of the fiber in addition to the varieties. Now you can see different colors of the fibers of white jute on the top, this one, and Tosa jute, you can see this one is Tosa jute fiber. So some variation in color happens. Now this is important. In nutshell, you are going to learn the differences in Corchorus capsularis and Corchorus olitorius. Although both species are almost similar in respect of most morphological features, they are sometimes difficult to distinguish. However, some important morphological differences between two species are discussed in next slides as given by Sinha and co-workers 2011. So let us check what are the major differences in two jute species. So number one is feature or characteristic, number one column. Number two column, it is Corchorus capsularis or white jute, and on right side column you see Corchorus olitorius, which is your Tosa jute, Tossa, and this is your white jute. So you can see appearance. The white jute is 1.5 to 4 meter tall. Basal diameter may be 0.4 to 2.4 centimeters, and maturity is 140 to 180 days. In olitorius or Tosa, 1.5 to 4.5. So relatively it is taller. Basal diameter ranges from 0.5 to 2.7 and maturity is 160 to 180 days. And white jute is less prone to premature flowering if sown in early February or March, and it is more prone to premature flowering, which is a negative point of Tosa jute. More prone to premature flowering if sown early in February or March. Means if it is not sown at right time, then it will yield less, its flowering will happen early. Now white jute stems are cylindrical with green to various shades of light to dark red, light to dark red. In some accessions, only basal portions are reddish. A distinct presence of periderm at the base is observed, which matures with age. In Tosa jute, stems are cylindrical and have various shades of red or maybe green. Periderm poorly developed. So, this is the difference. Here the periderm portion is poorly developed. Branching. In Capsularis or white jute, with sufficient spacing, many branches may develop. More branches appear in the axillary region. In Olitorius, with spacing, branching observed, but it is fewer than Capsularis jute. Now, leaves. What are the differences in leaves of two species? So, you can see leaves of Capsularis are glabrous, smaller than Olitorius, and may be ovate, cordate or lanceolate. Here, larger glabrous leaves may be ovate, cordate or lanceolate with larger prominent filiform appendages. Here, filiform appendages appear at the base of the leaf. So, these are some minor differences in this. Now, see the difference in flower of two species. Capsularis flower are smaller size than Olitorius. Sepals yellow or pale yellow, and sepals are 5 in number. Yellow to pale yellow petals. Stamens are 20 to 30. Anther pale yellow. Ovary round. 5 carpelled ovary in Capsularis. Style and stamen length shorter than Olitorius. And now see the characteristics of flower in Olitorius. Flowers 2 to 2.5 times size than Capsularis. Means flowers are bigger in size in Olitorius than in Capsularis. Sepals are green or bright yellow, and they are 5 to 6 in number. In white jute, they were 5 in number. Now, numerous stamens. So, stamens are also more here. In Capsularis, they were 20 to 30. In Olitorius, now you have 30 to 60 stamens and elongated ovary and larger style length. But in another case, it was shorter. Now, fruit, anthesis. Anthesis 1 to 2 hours after sunrise in case of Capsularis, and it is 1 hour before sunrise. So, this is the difference in anthesis, that is your opening of the flower. Now, differences in fruit. So, fruits are round, 1 to 1.5 centimeter in diameter, 5 locules or 5 parts, and each locule contain 7 to 10 seeds. Here in Olitorius, fruits are elongated at 6 to 10 centimeter long. They are longer, 0.5 to 1 centimeter diameter and 5 to 6 locules, and each locule may contain 25 to 40 seeds, much more seed number in Olitorius than in Capsularis. Seed size larger, color chocolate brown, size is smaller, color brown to steel grey to black. So, this is how you find some differences in Capsularis and Olitorius jute. Now, let us check the quality parameter, which is fiber. So, white color after retting. In Capsularis, you will get white color fiber after retting and finer fiber. In case of Olitorius, it is golden fiber color after retting and relatively coarser fiber. It is coarse, means thickness of fiber is more. Adaptability. Capsularis has wider adaptability due to better tolerance to abiotic stresses such as waterlogging, high temperature and salinity. So, this point goes in favor of Capsularis, that it is tolerant to abiotic stresses much better than Olitorius, and also to waterlogging, high temperature as well as salinity. Now, see what happens to Olitorius, less adaptable than Capsularis and have a lower tolerance to waterlogging, temperature and salinity. That means, under unfavorable condition, Capsularis can do better than the Olitorius. Now, let us check the varietal development of jute crop in India. So, first jute varieties Chin Surha green for Corchorus olitorius and Dhaka 154. Corchorus capsularis were released in 1915 and 1919 respectively through pure line selection. So these two had been the historical varieties, and that time it was all India. Dhaka was no different from India. It is part of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh was part of India. So therefore these varieties were released by India. So fiber yield of jute increased from 1 to 1.25 tons per hectare during 60s with development of C. capsularis varieties like JRC 321 and JRC 212. So these had been very, very important and significant varieties in jute varietal development. Till early 70s, white jute varieties occupied more than 80% of jute growing areas as they were suitable for mid-March to mid-April sowing. So in India, you can see that in 70s, the white jute varieties were dominating the scene, and Tosa variety, oleatorious varieties were susceptible to flowering during the sowing window. So premature flowering resistant Tosa jute varieties, namely JRO 878, JRO 7835 and JRO 524 were developed in 1967, 1971 and 1977 respectively. So these varieties were very, very important that helped to increase the area under oleatorious jute. So here JRO 878 was developed in 1967, JRO 7835 in 1971 and JRO 524 in 1977. These varieties were developed through transfer of early flowering resistance gene from exotic germplasm Sudan green to varieties JRO 620 and JRO 632. This enabled Tosa jute sowing early and could be fitted before Aman paddy or Aman rice in paddy-based cropping sequences of eastern India. As a result, 80% of jute area came under Tosa jute owing to its higher fiber yield. Now with time, slowly, the capsularis jute was replaced by oleatorious jute because it has better or higher fiber quality and it has more yields. Subsequently, a series of new Corchorus oleatorious and capsularis varieties had been released for cultivation in India. And one institute which is located in West Bengal, Krijaf, is developing most of the varieties of jute. Central Research Institute for Jute and Allied Fibers. These varieties have wider adaptability and made possible jump in average fiber yield to 2.79 tons per hectare in 21-22. So details of important varieties you can check in the subsequent slides. So state-wise recommended jute varieties are given here. For example, for Assam, AAUOJ1 which is Tarun, JBO 2003H Ira, JRO 204 Suren, S19 Subala, JRO 8432 also known as Shakti, and then CO 58 Saurabh, JBO 1 Sudhanshu, JRC 698, JRC 80, JBC 5 which is known as Arpita, RRPS 27C3 Mona Lisa. For Bihar, the recommended varieties of jute are JBO 2003H. So here a student can make a distinction. So wherever you find this O in the end, that means it is oleatorious jute, and wherever you find C, it is your capsularis jute. So it is easy to identify to which group or to which species a particular variety belongs. So then JRO 204 Suren, S19 Subala for Bihar, JRO 8432, JRO 128, JRO 66, CO 58, Saurabh, JBO 1, Sudhanshu, JRC 698, JBC 5 Arpita and RRPS 27C3 Mona Lisa. So these varieties recommended for Bihar. And for Meghalaya, you can see AAUOJ1 Tarun, JBO 2003H Ira, JRO 204 S19 Subala, JRO 28432 Shakti, and CO58 Saurabh, JBO 1 Sudhanshu, JVC 5 Arpita. Now check the varieties for Nagaland. AAOUOJ1, JBO 2003H, JRO 204, S19, JRO 8432, CO58, JBO 1 and JBC 5, etc. So these are the varieties which have been recommended for Nagaland. For Orissa, JBO 2003H, JRO 204, S19, JRO 8432, JRO 128 and JRO 66, which is called as Golden Jubilee Tosa, CO58 Saurabh, JBO 1, JVC 5 and RRPS 27C3. For Tripura, AAUOJ1, JBO 2003H, JRO 204, S19, JRO 8432, CO58, JBO 1 and JBC 5. So these are the varieties which are suitable for cultivation in Tripura. And you must be noticing that some of these varieties are common in different states and some are exclusively confined to a particular state. For Uttar Pradesh, in eastern UP, up to some extent jute is cultivated. JBO 2003H, JRO 204, S19, JRO 8432, JRO 128, etc., etc., JVC 5. And then for West Bengal, the major state where jute cultivation has highest area, highest production and highest yield of jute. So varieties for West Bengal are JBO 2003H, JRO 204 Suren, S19 Subala, JRO 128 Surya, JRO 66 Golden Jubilee Tosa, JRC 80, JRC 698, CO 58 Saurabh, JBO 1, JVC 5 and RRPS 27C-3, etc. Now let us check the characteristics of improved varieties of Tosa jute. What are the features of different important or significant varieties? So let us check JRO 8432. Its name is Shakti. It was released for cultivation in 1919. And what are the attributes? Pods non-shattering, resistant to premature flowering. So that is a good trait. And the yield potential is 2.62 tons per hectare of fiber. And it is recommended for medium and uplands of entire oleaginous belt, especially in West Bengal. JRO 128, which is known as Surya. This JRO 128 variety was released in 2002, and then pods are non-shattering, resistant to premature flowering. So non-shattering pods is also a good characteristics because seed can be recovered or saved. And the potential is high, yield potential is 2.66 tons per hectare of fiber, and it is also recommended for medium and uplands of entire oleaginous belt of the country. Next is S19, which is otherwise known as Subala, and released in year for cultivation 2005. Pods are non-shattering and it is also resistant to premature flowering. So you can draw one important point that most of these recent varieties have been evolved or released to have non-shattering habit and also should be tolerant to premature flowering. So they are full of these characteristics. Therefore, the yield potential is also high. So here you can see the next variety is your JRO 204, which is Suren, released in 2005. Pods and non-shattering type, resistant to premature flowering. And you see the yield potential is 3.28 tons per hectare, very high yield potential, and suitable for entire Tosa jute belt. Wherever Tosa is grown, it is fit for that area. JBO 2003H, which is also known as IRA, released in 2008. Pods are non-shattering type and resistant to premature flowering. Yield potential is 2.82 tons fiber per hectare, and it is suitable for entire Tosa jute belt. Next important variety is CO58. This is also known as Sorav, and this variety for commercial cultivation was released in year 2010. Pods are non-shattering and tolerant to stem rot and root rot. So, they are tolerant to certain diseases also, this variety, and yield potential is 2.72 and suitable for entire Tosa jute belt of the country. JBO 1, which is Sudhanshu, released in 2010. Pods are non-shattering type and resistant to premature flowering. Yield is high, 3.15 tons per hectare, suitable for entire Tosa jute belt. Then JROM 1 Pradeep 2013, highly tolerant to stem rot, root rot and anthracnose disease of jute. So, you can see this JROM1, which is known as Pradeep, is tolerant to stem rot, root rot and anthracnose disease of jute, and yield potential is also good, 3 tons per hectare, and it is fit for jute growing belts of West Bengal, Assam, Bihar and Odisha. Next is JROG1 Ritika. This variety was released in 2015 and it is resistant to root rot, yellow mite, semi-looper, etc. So, these two important pests may not be there in this variety, and yield is 2.79 tons per hectare, suitable for entire Tosa jute belt. Other variety is JRO2407, known as Sampati. It was released for cultivation in 2016 and tolerant to stem rot, root rot and yellow mite, and see yield potential is really extremely high, 3.38 tons per hectare, recommended for medium and uplands of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam and Odisha. Now, you see BCCO6 Kisan Path, released in 2017, resistant to premature flowering, 2.84 tons per hectare yield, recommended for medium and uplands of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam and Odisha. NJ7010 Rani, released in 2018, resistant to premature flowering and yielding 3.1 tons per hectare fiber, and this variety is medium and uplands of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha and Maharashtra, etc. Now, JROMU1, released in 2020, resistant to premature flowering, yield is 3.29, medium and uplands of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha. JROB2, released in 2020, and its yield potential is 3.2 to 3.21, and it is also recommended for West Bengal, Bihar, Assam and Odisha. Then white jute, few varieties of white jute like Bidha Pet 1, released in 2001, photo period insensitive, pods non-shattering and 60 to 65 days. And then Bidha Part 2 is also important variety, released in 2001, and its yield potential is 2.23 tons per hectare. JRC 80, released in 2005, fiber yield is 2.21 tons per hectare. JRC 517, released in 2009, fiber yield is 2.42 tons per hectare. Similarly, RRPS 27C, released in 2009, 3 tons per hectare, recommended for different parts of India. And JBC 5 2010, 2.84 tons per hectare. JRCM 2 2013, 2.78 tons per hectare. And KJC 7 2016, 2.81 tons per hectare, and AAU CJ2, released in 2017, and yield potential is 2.79 tons per hectare. So, there are large number of varieties for this white jute also. So, dear students, hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.